You're recording.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been given in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act pursuant to Public Laws 1975. Said notice was advertised in the Asbury Park Press and the Beacon and was posted on the bulletin board showing the time and place of the meeting. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. How much take it? Proclamation for neurofibromatosis? Okay. All right. So let me read this. Whereas the Children's Tumor Foundation is observing May 2023 as Neurofibromatosis NF Awareness Month to educate the public about this rare genetic disorder. And whereas although over 2 million people around the world are living with NF and 1 in every 3,000 childbirths is diagnosed with NF, it is still relatively unknown to the public. Whereas NF affects all populations equally regardless of race, ethnicity, or gender. And whereas NF causes tumors to grow on nerves throughout the body and also can affect development of brain, cardiovascular systems, bones, and skin. And whereas the disorder can lead to blindness, deafness, bone abnormalities, disfigurement, learning disabilities, disabling pain, and cancer. And whereas the Children's Tumor Foundation leads efforts to promote the financial sponsor of world-class medical research aimed at finding effective treatments and ultimately a cure for NF. And whereas the Children's Tumor Foundation is actively fostering collaborative partnerships in both science and industry to speed drug research and development process through the number of consortia called Syndosis. And whereas the Children's Tumor Foundation works to improve access to quality patient health care through its national NF clinic network. And whereas the Children's Tumor Foundation provides patient and family support through its information resources and youth programs and local chapter activities. And whereas much remains to be done in raising public awareness to NF to help promote early diagnosis and proper management and treatment prevention of complications to support for research. Now therefore be resolved that I, Timothy McDonald, Mayor of Lacey Township, do hereby proclaim in recognition of this important initiative, to hereby proclaim the month of May 2023 as Neurofibrosis NF Awareness Month. And Stacy, come on down. Come on down. Bring the whole family down. Who's getting this?
Jackson should get it.
What's your name? I'm sorry?
Jackson.
Jackson.
Do you want to accept this?
I'm gonna bring, if you don't mind.
Thank you.
very much.
Perfect.
All right.
Mayor, if I
Come on,
can,
let's get a picture. Come on.
Mayor, can I tell you what this young man did for Lacey Township? He got us on the Channel 62 news there. He was all over our police station. This is the young man I was talking about the other night. Yes, he's made us a star here. He's our real hero for us with all his patches.
Let's get a picture. Come on back.
Look at him.
That's right, block them.
That's it. A little high.
Get a better picture.
But Mama, she can get in there. Oh,
That was good,
she's
Mark.
so cute.
Pretty funny.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
It's gonna be a long night. Bye now.
So it's just at the beat.
All right, special use, number 2 on the agenda, special use permit, Lacey United Methodist Church vendor fair and car show on June 17, 2023.
The Methodist Church is looking to hold a vendor fair and car and truck show in their parking lot of the United Methodist Church on June 17th from 9 to 2. In the event of rain, they would like it Saturday, July 1st from the same time. This has been reviewed and approved by the zoning office and has also been reviewed by the police department. Can I have a motion to approve?
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 3, special use permit and request to post signs for the Forked River Rotary Club Doggy Derby event on June 4th, 2023.
The Rotary Club of Forked River, again, is having their annual Doggy Derby. They have, I think, at this point, over 50 vendors that have signed up to come to this event at the Jones Road Fields. They want to put out those traditional lawn signs throughout the community prior to June 4th, and I just need permission for them to do that 1 week in advance.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anything, any others?
There's one. Isn't there one more?
Yes.
Like this one?
Oh, sorry. Request to post signs for the AYF from May 23rd to June 6th. That's the youth football.
That's the youth football, yes. They're having a registration event. I know the letter says a different date, but I spoke with their president, and he says he won't be ready to go live online until May 23rd, and he's looking for it for 2 weeks.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I have no other add-ons, so we can adjourn. Motion to adjourn?
Move it.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh,
Okay. Adequate notice of this meeting has been given in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act pursuant to the public laws of 1975. Said notice is advertised in the Asbury Park Press and the Beacon and was posted on the bulletin board showing the time and place of the meeting. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First reading of ordinance 2023-15, amending an ordinance that determines salaries, wages, and compensation of employees.
An ordinance of the Township of Lacey County, Ocean State of New Jersey, amending an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the Township of Lacey County, Ocean State of New Jersey, fixing and determining the salaries, wages, and compensations of the officers, employees, and members of the governing body of the township. This is for a salary adjustment for the positions of Director of Community Development and Zoning Officer. Motion, first
Move it.
reading.
Second.
Mrs. Juliano?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes, resolution, first reading of ordinance 2023-16, amending chapter 79 entitled Officers and Employees.
In ordinance of the Township of Lacey County, Ocean State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 79 of the Township Code of the Township of Lacey entitled Officers and Employees, so as to amend Section 79-217 entitled Duties, under the duties of the Code Enforcement Officer. This is just changing the direction of who oversees the Code Enforcement Department. Motion on first reading.
Move it.
Second.
Mrs. Juliano?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes. Resolution 2023-164, supporting the New Jersey Forest Fire Service projects.
Resolution Township of Lacey, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, supporting the New Jersey Forest Fire Service and Fuels Mitigations Projects using prescribed fire and other treatments. This is being requested to be adopted by the governing bodies in order to assist the New Jersey Forest Fire Association.
Move it.
Second.
Mrs. Juliano?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes. Resolution 2023-165, reappointing the tax assessor.
A resolution of Township of Lacey, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, reappointing Edward Seeger as tax assessor for the Township of Lacey. This is in accordance with state statute for a 4-year appointment. Motion?
Move it.
Second.
Mrs. Juliano?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes. Resolution 2023-166, reappointing the deputy tax assessor.
Resolution of Township of Lacey, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, reappointing Nancy D'Amico as deputy tax assessor for the Township of Lacey. This again is in accordance with state statute. Motion?
Move it.
Second.
Mrs. Juliano?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes. Resolution 2023-167, authorizing the employment of a part-time account clerk.
Resolution of Township of Lacey, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing the employment of Tylen D'Amato as a part-time account clerk for the Township of Lacey in the Finance Department. This is a maximum of 25 hours per week.
Move it.
Second.
Mrs. Juliano?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes. Resolution 2023-168, authorizing a change order to the to a contract with Earl Asphalt Corporation.
Resolution of Township of Lacey, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing the execution of an amendment to the contract with Earl Asphalt Company for the Northwest Barnegat Pines Phase 2 Road Improvement Project. This is the change order number 1, and it also is known as final quantities. The net result in this contract is a decrease in the amount of $68,189.48.
Move it.
Take the money and run.
Second?
That typo.
Second.
What happens is when you don't know how much quantity of tonnage of asphalt you're gonna use until you actually pave, because it's different throughout the whole, roadways there. Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes, resolution 2023-169, authorizing a chapter 159 in the municipal budget.
Resolution to Township of Lacey, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, providing for the insertion of a special item of revenue and appropriation in the 2023 municipal budget known as Chapter 159 of the Township of Lacey pursuant to NJSA 48:4-87. This is the Distracted Driving Crackdown Grant in the amount of $7,000.
Move it.
Second.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes, resolution 2023-170, authorizing a chapter 159 in the municipal budget.
Resolution to Township of Lacey, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, providing for the insertion of a special item of revenue and appropriation in the 2023 municipal budget known as the Chapter 159 of the Township of Lacey pursuant to NJSA 48:4-87. This is for a stormwater assistance grant in the amount of $15,000.
Move it.
Second.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes, resolution 2023-171, authorizing the refund of a building department fee.
Resolution to Township of Lacey, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing refund of a building department fee issued by the Lacey Township Building Department. The homeowner is no longer moving forward with the project. The amount to be refunded on the permit is $346.
Move it.
Second.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes. Resolution 2023-172, canceling taxes due for property acquired by the United States.
Resolution to Township of Lacey, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing the tax collector to cancel taxes due for property acquired by the United States Department of Interior, and this is Block 520, Lot 23. This is well beyond to the east of Bayberry Village, back in the swamps. So the total amount of 2022 taxes is $131.73.
Move it.
Second.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes, resolution 2023-173, refunding of deposit monies.
Resolution to Township of Lacey, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing a refund of deposits held for the use of municipal facilities.
Move it.
Second.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes, resolution 2023-174, authorizing the payment of the township bills.
Resolution to Township of Lacey, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing the payment of township bills in the amount of $7,250,588.64. Motion?
Move it.
Second.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes. Monthly reports.
I have no monthly reports to report. Oh, wait, I lied. Never mind, I lied.
No, it was an oversight.
Yes, I know. So for the month of March, the municipal court collected receipts in the amount of $16,102.15. Municipal docks for the month of March were collected in the amount of $46,200. Municipal clerk's office for the month of April collected receipts in the amount of $11,274.67. For the month of April, road opening permits collected in the amount of $5,370, recycling commodity in the amount of $1,428, and truck parking in the amount of $13,400. Municipal docks for the month of April were collected in the amount of $20,900, and April for the Department of Community Development collected receipts in the amount of $38,822. Motion to accept the reports is read.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve caucus meeting minutes from April 27th, 2023.
Move it.
Second.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
My bad. Motion to approve township meeting minutes from April 27th, 2023.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve raffle license for Women's Club, Rotary Club of Forked River, the VFW Post 10118, AYFL Football and Cheer, and the Lacey Elks 2518.
Move it.
Second.
All in
All in
favor?
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm falling asleep up there, my bad.
You are. Can I do two add-ons? Sure. Okay. They're going to be first readings of ordinances, so it's, and these were ones that were supposed to be read last meeting, but we still had some technical things to work out, so it's ordinance 2023-13. It's an ordinance of the Township of Lacey, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing the grant of easements for the installation of underground electrical improvements and construction and maintenance easements for Block 1000, Lot 1. This is for the offshore wind project and for them to connect into their property, and they have to run under what we would call the railroad right-of-way. Can I have a motion on first reading?
Move. Second.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Next is ordinance 2023-14. It's an ordinance of the Township of Lacey County, Ocean State of New Jersey, authorizing execution of a grant of access easements. This is allowing them to access the property for Block 1000, Lot 1. Motion?
Second.
Mrs. Juliana?
Yes.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes.
Those are the only things I have to add on.
Thank you. Comments from the committee. Deputy Mayor Kennis.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know if anybody recently saw, but it was in the paper that Holtec has received NRC approval to move their casks to New Mexico. And although it's a great first step for Holtec and for Lacey Township, that they received the permit to move the spent waste fuel, they still need the approval from New Mexico to build the facility. So it's still a long road ahead, but I guess they're making progress. Those are my comments.
Thank you. Committeewoman Giuliano.
Thank you, Mayor. One thing I just like to talk about, the young man who was just here, he collects patches from all over the world, actually. He calls that his rewards on what do you wear? Cape.
Cape,
He's
it's
a cape.
super cape, yeah.
Super
Super
cape.
cape.
So he's collected them all over. And anyway, he was brought in here to our police station, and Officer Hutman showed him all around on how to use everything at the police station, and he really enjoyed every minute of it. And it was on our New Jersey News, so it was a real nice thing.
Very
And
good.
the only other thing I'd like to say is just to keep everybody reminded that our parade, our Memorial Day parade, is on the 29th, Monday the 29th, and lineup is 9:30, and then we have a little service up here out of our monuments out front. So that's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Committeeman Dykoff.
Thank you. So the other night, Administrator LeRae organized an informational session. And what it was, we held at our Charles E. Smith Community Hall, and it brought in professionals from throughout the state, Save Barnegat Bay, the Littoral Society, some engineers, someone from Stevens Institute. And what was discussed was specifically on the agenda were Bayfront Beach Project, which is the Bayfront Park over in Fork River Beach, lagoon dredging, and that really encompassed the whole township, and then Bayfront flooding. And the nice thing about it is we get asked a lot about dredging and these issues from the public, and we try in our own layman's terms explain to them, you know, what the process is, the permitting process, the process when you dredge, that you have to take the sand, and if you put it somewhere, the granules of sand have to match the granules of where you're putting it, and you have to justify when you're going to apply for a permit. And there are little tricks, unfortunately, that you have to know. And it was a fantastic, very informative, very fast moving. They really did an excellent job at being professional and keeping everyone on track. What was the woman's, Britta?
Britta Froberg.
And she was from?
Save Barnegat Bay.
Save Barnegat Bay, and she was fantastic. She had a vision, she kept everyone in line, and, you know, I've attended a lot of these type of environmental meetings, particularly as we went through the relicensing of Oyster Creek nuclear power station, and a lot of them were just flotsam. It really was nothing, especially when the DEP ran them. But I want to thank Administrator LeRae for putting that together. She made sure the information got out. We had over 100 people there, which was a nice turnout. And we had people from throughout the town, but it answered a lot of questions that people had, and you know, thank you very much. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Committeeman Cordello.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to recognize, so that everything's good in the house tonight, May is Nurses Month. You're welcome, hon. Full disclosure, I'm married to a nurse. So,
Yeah, you
see,
better
I'm smart,
recognize
Mayor.
that.
I'm smart, Mayor. Hey, listen, I love her dearly. So it is Nurses Month. It's for every nurse out there. The healthcare system doesn't work without all of them. Nurses know that, and we all know it. Lacey Day, 12 to 4, Saturday, September 30th. Call 693-1100, extension 2203. Talk to James. He's our Department of Recreation Director. If you have a business or an entity you want displayed, we have several thousand people. It's well attended each and every year. More so than other towns, and our town isn't the largest in the county, so it is a wonderful time. Please try to get out there. Something that was brought to my attention, brought to all of our attention, actually, and it was on Jersey Shore Online, really thanks to Councilman Vacchione in Berkeley Township. So if you call the county clerk's office, County Clerk Colabella, we've all heard about scams. This isn't it's not new, but it's an augmented issue preying especially on our seniors. Call 732-929-2053, the county clerk's office. Sign your address up, and anytime there's a change in status on your deed, in other words, there are people that get their houses swiped. If the paperwork's in order, the people at the county clerk's office are obligated by law to put that transaction through. And what happens, and it's happening more and more often, somebody will be sitting in their home, 4 months later, they get a notice from their mortgage company, they're in foreclosure. It's because they don't own their house anymore, it was taken from under them. I know it sounds unbelievable. There's companies out there like LifeLock that offer the service. This is a no-charge service, thanks to the folks down there. Call them up, get some information on it. Maybe we can put something on our website. It's completely a public service. This is a public service here. This has nothing to do with anything else but looking out for our people. And I'm just a voice. My other colleagues, they saw this as well. So we're united front with this. If you have an opportunity, check it out, do it. It's for free. They will call you or text you if there's a change in status on your property. We had I'll close with this, Mayor. We had the Ocean County Board of Tourism and Business Development meeting. That was why I couldn't attend with Committeeman Dykoff and Committeewoman Giuliano, the Littoral Society in St. Barnegat Bay. We're definitely ramping up. We're trying to reimburse some businesses with ARPA money. We're doing what we can to support business and our lifeblood, which is tourism. And we have a piece of that now with our WIBID. It's very well managed. So, there are my comments, Mayor, and thank you for the time.
Thank you. Okay, let me talk about a couple of things here. The Monday meeting, I had the privilege, about 4 weeks before that, Britta came down and she sat with myself and Veronica and Casey Parker. And who was the other girl from the state? She was there.
She was for Fish and Game.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Okay, there was another person there. And I saw the presentation, and it's really good. And the overall objective of all of this is they want to get a master permit for the bay so that they can do the dredging, whatever they have to do. And that's the objective of all of this. Once they get the master permit, then they can go to work and start doing getting the living shoreline and changing that up. You know, I was talking to Casey Parker, and he was in charge of doing some of this work way back when. And he had a disagreement with them about a groin, which is something that they put in to protect the shoreline. He said it's not going out far enough. And they disagreed with him. And guess what now? They're going to have to put the groin out further, which is what Casey wanted 10, 15 years ago. So we are very fortunate to have Casey Parker with us and understanding all of this. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't know if you saw it in the patch, as of January 1st, the tolls are going up another 3%. Okay? It's part of a law that automatically kicks in. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay. It's getting light out. It's staying light out later. I was out riding around a little bit last night, and guess what I saw? Kids on bikes. So let's just be careful out there, because they're going, they're young and they're out, and sometimes they're just not looking to what they're doing. This afternoon, I got a phone call from Jeff Dostal down at Holtec. This will probably break, well, he said probably tonight or tomorrow. They ship their waste out of here, not the spent fuel cast, but when they're tearing down the building, they ship it, and they reuse it. He was here before us about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's about a 60% where they recycle it. And they ship some up to their nuclear power plant up in New York. When they packaged it up here and said it was meeting all the DOT standards, all the NRC standards. When it got to New York, something had shifted and something had broken loose, and it wasn't dangerous. I had them send this to me. Where the heck is it? The contract doses rates of 215 and 555 milliram per hour at 2 separate spots. Those rates are above the 200 milliram per hour allowable. Nobody got hurt. Driver is fine. When you ship stuff like that, sometimes it ships and it breaks loose. This will break probably tonight or in the papers tomorrow or whenever. But I really appreciate him getting us out ahead of that because we're all very aware of what's going on. And if you see, Holtec is shipping stuff out of here. But when they ship it, and we got a couple complaints on this last week, it'll say nuclear waste materials. Don't worry about it. It's tools. It's stuff that they're sending to other nuclear power plants. They don't need an escort. They don't need any of that stuff. When it comes time, should that time ever happen, that they have to ship the casts out of here, we will know about it way, way ahead of time. Okay? Those casts are, first of all, they're extraordinarily heavy. They're unbelievably heavy, and you'll see some road work done and stuff like that to get them through here, or taking care of the channels and things like that. They barge them out of here. So that's that. The other thing is summer camp. I believe we can register online now. If earlier you register, you save a little money. So that's good. If you have any questions, just call over to the rec department. They'll take care of it. And I had a conversation with the chief yesterday. You probably all read about it. The catalytic converters are being stolen out from underneath the cars. The only thing we can tell you to do is just be aware. If you have the ring, open your camera up. You can adjust your camera. I know I adjusted mine. Get your cars parked as close to the house as possible. If you have those lights that come on with motion, make sure they're up and not burned out. It's a ring. They're aware of it, and as he said, we'll solve it. It's just a matter of when. So we can go from there. And let me see, anything else like? Nope. That's it. Okay, that's all I have. Comments from the public. All right.
Well, it'd be a meeting unless it came up tonight.
Well, it might be. It might be.
Not keep you guys on your toes.
Just so you
Kevin
know.
Flynn. Now that we have all these apartment buildings and multifamily, multi-story building proposed and being built at the time, has the committee ever considered the fire hazard with all these e-bikes in these buildings? Because if you look at New York and all the fires that they're having and people are dying in them, what are we going to make an ordinance so these people are not allowed to bring their bikes in their apartments to charge them? Because
Oh, the e-bikes. Okay.
yes,
Chris, do we have jurisdiction to do that on private property?
I don't know the answer to that question, so I'd have to look into it.
I mean,
It's a good point.
Because it's a nightmare. These people are getting because it's not the average fire.
Right.
The batteries literally
Right.
explode.
Right.
And the sprinkler systems in these buildings are not going to put them out.
Yeah.
And most of the times, the people are getting trapped because they put them by the doors,
Right.
blocking their
Way
egress.
out,
Right.
yeah.
So that's why they're having so many fatalities. But it's
So
something
Kevin,
that
if I
concerns.
could, I did talk to the chief about that not long ago. You see some of these bikes, they're going faster than cars, those wide wheels. So I said, when is the threshold? When is it not a bike and when does it need to be registered like a moped? And he was talking about certain CCs or the size of the electric engine. That has to get out there because people are buying stuff right off eBay. And I think some of those with the speed that you see them on, even on Route 9, should be registered. But there has to be clarification because I wasn't sure, right? And some other folks probably wouldn't be sure as well. So we need some clarification.
Well, my biggest concern is the fire.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
That's-
like
Well, same with an electric car,
Right.
that's even worse.
Right. We honestly don't know
I mean, if it's something
Yeah,
that
no,
we,
we'll-
that
it will
I would think
absolutely-
would be a good thing to look into.
Yeah, we'll absolutely follow up on that, and thank you for bringing it to our attention. It's
Yeah,
great.
Great idea.
All right, and next thing, community hall. The price was 2.9, now I see it's down to 1.5.
Yeah, so there was no interest at it at, I'm gonna say $3 million, and that is above the appraisal value that we listed it for at the time. So it was suggested that we lower it closer to the appraised value and see if we have some interest, and I've already gotten 3 other parties that have inquired about looking at it and possibly bidding on it. 2 of them are restaurant, franchise restaurant owners.
Good, nice.
The question is the back of the parking lot against the
library, yeah.
Is that a through street or is that part of the property?
Well, I'm gonna have to check with when the DOT redid Route 9 and Lacey Road, if that was part of an we didn't grant an easement, but if they used that for like their jug handle or not, to see, but I don't believe they did, because they had only paid us for what they acquired at the front of the building when they widened the lanes there. So I'll have to check, because technically you're supposed to go down Jones and then cut across to Lacey Road that way. You're not supposed to utilize the back of the community
But
hall
it's also
parking lot.
gonna kind of mess up the library because their parking lot, their front of their building dumps into that.
Yeah.
So if someone else buys that and curves it across, then,
They have another entrance down on.
They
I know, but I just like.
But they
this-
still have to come before the planning board to make application for a site plan approval, and those are things that can be worked out and agreed upon at the planning board level. Yeah, so, and I don't think we would, cut off the access to the library. Yeah.
And what about when you do sell it, is the money from it, the $1 million, at least $1 million of it, gonna be used to pay off the loan for the community
Yes, it has
center?
to. For the Knights of Columbus building that we
Yes.
bought, yes, that would pay off the $700,000 for that building. We would definitely.
We've already paid $300,000 down on it?
We didn't use it all. We didn't use it all. So, it would pay off the note that we took out to purchase the building, yes. We've always done that when we buy something and then we sell something that would be equal, we replace something and we sold something, that we pay off our notes.
And the remainder of the profit, where are we gonna?
It's gonna go into a fund for, expansion of facilities.
So that would be put towards the new
Yep.
project.
Yep, we have a dedication by rider for that in the municipal budget. So any of the 20 by 100 lots that I'm selling or those old fire easements are all going into a fund right now
So we're
for
creating a
future
slush
expansion. So if it doesn't, let's say we don't build a new building. So that money could be used possibly for park improvements, or it could be, let's say, dumped into this building if that's the route that we wind up going. So it's there for that. I couldn't buy a fire truck with it.
No, I
Just saying.
that was not my,
I'm just telling you.
Besides that
Good
and
job.
the south dock, is there any other municipally owned properties that are going to possibly be put up for sale?
Right now, I'm working with the
Fish and Wildlife.
Fish and Wildlife, correct, thank you for that. Fish and Wildlife to purchase the 72 acres off of
Inland?
Inland Road. Yes, yep,
And then it would be preserved land.
Yeah.
They'll be able to build
Yeah.
on it.
Yep.
yep, they are securing the funding as we speak. They reached out to me today to say that they are in the process of securing the funding. They just had a few more title things that they had to go through, and then they would be presenting us with an offer.
That's great, because
It's-
preserving the land.
Yeah, yeah.
That'll make my buddy happy too. And that's the only other piece that we have that would be up for sale. Like-
Yeah, I mean, we have, little 20 by 100s here and there, and, some paper streets that people are asking us to vacate, but nothing of large tracts of land.
And they're all gonna be,
Challenger Way, or whatever you want to call it.
Oh,
I mean, that's the only other.
That's another piece.
you mean on the front of the business park?
Yeah.
Yeah, the triangular piece on the business park, we have some inquiries for some people. There is some restrictions on that because you've got the rail trail that runs through there. And I don't know how much of it is buildable because it is basically all corners. So we are assessing that at this time to see what we can do with that. We have some inquiries on it.
and everything that is gonna be sold will be at fair market value, correct?
Oh, it has to be by law. I can't sell it for anything less.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. Darren.
Barry Bender, Forked River, I could say that.
There you go. There you go.
Just wanted to remind folks, which I'll be doing all the time, August 12th, Relay for Life at Veterans Park. We're looking for teams, I think. We got 10. We're possibly an 11th at this point. We got a little ways to go. But actually, I think 10 is the total that we had last year, and we still raised $45,000, so over $45,000.
Is the
last year.
Facebook up and running yet, guys?
It's
Yeah.
up. I keep forgetting to send it. I got a Facebook and a Twitter and a whatever. Somebody sent me the note, and I keep forgetting to send it. Who would I send it to?
Send it
You can
to
send
Ron.
it, yeah,
To you?
to me or to
Ron.
Amy, either Lacey Clerk or clerk
Okay.
at laceytownship.org. And
Got
we'll
it.
make sure that we get it
Respond
out.
to where I get this.
Yeah, we're good.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Just want to comment on a couple other things that were said. The groin could also be called a jetty. It was there when the marina was there.
Right.
It fell into such disrepair, it basically is nothing at this point.
Right.
So what they would have to build is a solid jetty.
I don't know if you were at the meeting Monday,
I was-
but I was running back and forth. I had to go to a planning board meeting, and they came.
Yeah, no, I saw you running out when I was
See,
running in.
there's
Yeah.
the same jetty or groin, whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it. If you go down the end of Laurel, before you get into Newport Bay Club, before you get to that first house on the left, it would be, there's that same situation that exists there
Right.
that we are facing with having to replace in the future as well. If you go take a look at that one, it looks just as bad as Bayside Beach did when it was in there.
Bayside Beach ones is like completely.
Yes, yeah,
I
this
mean,
one
it's
still
gone.
shows at a low tide, but it's got a lot of holes in it.
But the key to that is if they're gonna be putting a living shoreline in, let's say you have
Hopefully.
any sand that they put down for that living shoreline will be stopped at
Right,
that
and it
point,
won't
so
if
we
we
don't
don't
have
put
our
the jetty
friends in the lagoons
Right.
not being able to get their
Yes.
boats out, that's a key.
The key is the master permit. That's the key. Instead of individual towns having to go for the permits or whatever, one big one that'll last 5 or 7 years, and we can get to work on it.
Take care of it, yeah. Comment on what you were saying, Comedian Cartolo. I see these people on motorized bicycles moving at a high rate of
Yeah,
speed.
right.
Isn't there a helmet law in the state? Isn't there a helmet law? What is the story?
For
I don't know.
motorcycles, there
Yeah, but
is.
that's a motorized vehicle. How's that
Well,
different
if
than a
no,
motorcycle?
I think for bicycles,
Yeah.
I could be
And
dead
for
wrong on this
bicycles, there's a
issue.
helmet law.
I think if you're over 14, you don't need a helmet.
Okay.
And so I'm guessing here, guy.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that it falls under that category.
Right.
The other problem that I have with it, and I've talked to Commissioner Quinn about this, is they're all over the rail trail. I mean, it's crazy.
I see
I
them
gotta
on
jump
the
out of the
road. I
way.
mean,
here.
if these guys wipe out at the speed those things are moving, it's a motorized vehicle. There should be a law that it falls under, just like motorcycles where they.
We're
need to
gonna
wear-
look at, Chris Connors is gonna look at it for us and see what we can do with regards to,
The batteries.
where they can put them in, and they not in the house. And then, unfortunately, that's really the state's issue. It is, and they'll deal with it sooner or later, when a
Gotcha.
couple people die.
Thanks for your time.
Unfortunately, yes.
Thank you.
Gavin. Come on down here, Gavin, been a long time.
It has. Good evening, Gavin Rossi, Forked River. I actually wasn't going to speak tonight, but
I
I'm
love it when
compelled
they say
to represent the electric bike owners. Of they got my attention with that one. Look, I mean, there's stupid people that operate them in a reckless manner, but I just wanted to shed some light on some of the legal framework that's been out there, because I've been very familiar. I'm up to my third electric bike. I got my first one back in 2013 before they were even regulated.
Wow.
Since then, the technology's kind of come a long way. So from a safety issue, I don't know, what the legalities are from a land use perspective. If you were to look at the charging, I would have no problem with that in the multifamily developments. But if you were to do that, I would just ask you to make a distinction in terms of the specific battery chemistry. So the old school electric bikes, just like those hoverboards that used to
Right.
explode, they used a battery chemical technology called nickel metal hydride. And that's like the old school batteries. Some like old school electronics had them. They're, much less safer. Like
Right.
if you have a mobile phone or a laptop, all the newer bikes, they use lithium ion or lithium polymer technology. Still safety issues. I mean, the fires, it's obviously a concern. Sometimes people will get an adapter and they'll remove the grounding pin from the three-pronged outlets, and that's a real safety issue. But the actual legislation, I have it. It was from 2019. It's under NJSA 39:4-14.16. And it specifically preempts a lot of municipal regulations. So the municipality could take action on publicly owned lands, trails and stuff. The one distinction, I know the county hasn't done anything on the rail trail yet, but under Title 39, it's specifically exempted from the definition of a motor vehicle. So in terms of the max legal limits, You go up to 20 miles an hour, you can have up to a 750 watt motor. And after 2019, all of the manufacturers are supposed to affix some sort of a sticker that identifies that. So, that's all I would have to add on that. Thank you.
Okay, hold on.
Thank you.
What about the helmet? What's the story with the helmet on those things?
You don't.
I think you were correct in terms of it not being required if you're over. I haven't looked at that,
Right.
so I couldn't
Do you
say
wear a
it.
helmet?
It depends.
Okay, just curious.
It depends.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gavin, one question,
Yeah.
and it's important. If you have an electric bike and you're not pedaling, how you stay so thin?
Well, you know what? I would have to say that would be under the advisory, consultative, and deliberative exemption to Oprah. I wouldn't be able to tell you at this time.
Man, you got me, man.
Very good.
But I do pedal too. No, it actually has. There's a pedal assist mode where
Right.
you can twist and go. I rely on the electric maybe a little too much, so I try to pedal a little bit. What can I say?
Good,
Thank you.
good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the public? Come on down here, Mr. Bidnick. Don't say your address, please.
Richard Bidnick, Forked River. Couple of things I wanted to bring up. Are you all receiving a stipend or a salary now for being on the township committee?
Yes.
Okay, and what is that amount?
I get, we rotate the mayorship, as you know.
Okay, yes, I know.
The mayor gets, I get 11,000, we each get 10,000.
That's
I think
correct.
that's what it
Okay.
is.
And does anybody get health benefits?
No,
Was that eliminated, I think, years ago?
years ago.
2010, I want to say around 2010.
Yeah, I thought it was
Yeah,
at
yeah,
that time.
yeah.
Okay, so basically, then, if you're receiving a salary besides being an elected official, you're actually an employee. So you're basically, in my view, like an employee to the people, okay? I just want you to understand where I'm coming from head-wise. So, I wasn't at the last meeting, but it was brought to my attention about the contentiousness that went on at the meeting, and I watched it. Okay, so the issue that I have with this is not the first time that this has happened. Since you are technically employees of the public, I think it's very inappropriate for members of public bodies to try to shut people down who are speaking, who treat them with disrespect with something they may say, even if they don't agree with them. And even if the person is somewhat contentious, who's the public speaker, you are supposed to be the adults in the room. So you're supposed to be setting the standard of the behavior.
Yep.
What I saw was not a very good standard. And this isn't the first time that this has happened. It happened at the last meeting that I attended at in November, which, by the way, was packed. And it was about the Johnson Controls issue with possibly moving forward on a new municipal complex. So I'm just asking, and I want to go on the record as this, that I don't want to see that happen again. Because the reason why people don't come to these meetings and speak up in large numbers is because of that behavior. I mean, I know this. People talk to me all the time. They stop me when I'm on my walks. They explain things to me. And there is a disconnect with public bodies. In fact, in our country right now, politicians are the lowest of the low, quite frankly. People don't trust them. They don't feel that the government pays attention to them. They feel that no matter what they say, the government's going to do whatever they want to do. And this is a real problem. And I know you don't want to hear this, but the truth hurts sometimes, and it needs to be stated. So, just reminding you that, again, you are public employees. You are paid by the people who come to these meetings, and they deserve to be treated with the utmost respect because they're paying the salaries and they're paying the taxes that run this community. And I ask that in the future, that the behavior level and the way you speak to members of the public, whether you agree with them or not, is kept in a very professional manner. Okay? The next thing. At the November 2022 meeting, which was packed, by the way, with many people who spoke up against the proposed complex that you're talking about, in fact, not one person spoke in favor of it. So this is a perfect example of what I'm saying about the moving forward on a municipal complex. You don't have the public support. I've not heard, I don't know anybody in this town that wants us to be spending an enormous amount of money on a new municipal complex. And you know what? I'm going to say this, and it might sound like, not in a pleasant way, but quite frankly, most of the people in this town are not really concerned that the public workers in this community have really nice offices to work in. It's just not a concern for most of them. Most of them right now are struggling with inflation that has been over 20-some%. I feel really bad for the parents. I'm a single person. I'm struggling as it is to maintain my mortgage, my taxes, and everything else. But people who have children and have a car payment and they have a house payment, property taxes, and everything else that goes on, it is extremely difficult. And when you're in the ivory tower and you're up there, you're making decisions that affect everybody else, it's like you need to remember these things, because there is a disconnect between when you're in power and the people that you actually represent. And as a public advocate, tax advocate, have been for the last 13 years dealing with this town, I think it's really important. I understand this building needs to be renovated. I also think that you need to start thinking about the future too, that most employers are now allowing people to work from at home. And that may solve the problem that you have a lot of with your space. And I really think that if you are really concerned about the community and the taxpayers and the way they are struggling, that you will seriously look at this issue, whether you like it or not, and that you will start preparing for this, because you're talking about the future. Well, I'm talking about the future because most of my friends now who used to work in an office are now working at home. They're either doing Zoom or they're working on their computers. And you know what? It could save us all a lot of money. Like, God knows what could this complex could cost, $60 million or something like that. I think I'd rather see a few $1 million spent to keep this facility up and do what we need to do than go on a huge project. And I can tell you that that's the way a large number of people in this community feel about this. I'm hoping that you will listen in the end and that you will rationally think about this when you get all your numbers in, which a lot of us are waiting for what those numbers will be. And then you'll actually think about the people who are struggling. I'm one of them, okay? I really am. I'm one of them. I have serious issues. I have a mortgage I have to pay, taxes and everything else. And I'm speaking for a lot of people who stop and talk to me, okay, in this community, who are the people that nobody cares about. And so that's a point that I'm asking that you really seriously consider. Okay, the other thing that I wanted to bring up was something that I posted online about that I thought was totally inappropriate that this government body did. And that was, you gave $456,000 that you took from the MUA and you gave it to the schools. And I'm going to explain something to you because all of you probably know that I have been very active in the schools over the last many years. In fact, it was this body, I think Mr. Dykoff's the only person still sitting on this, who when I started the Lacey Citizens for Responsible Government 13 years ago told me, the school is the body that, most of our taxes are going to, and you really need to look into them. Well, that's what I've done. I spent the last 12 years debating with the schools, watching the school continue to decline. I have made numerous proposals to the school district. In fact, if you go back and watch the videos from 6 years ago, I predicted exactly what happened this year. I told them, you need to start preparing, you need to start downsizing, and they haven't. But what you did was you enabled the school district to get away with their fiscal irresponsibility, and that is really what's going on. And you know what? We used to have 5,100 students when I started. We're now down to 3,800. We have not had a 25% reduction in the education of the teachers I'm talking about, or anybody who's working in school. We haven't seen a 25% reduction in the budget. In fact, it just keeps going up and up and up. So the issue at hand is, I don't mind seeing money going into education when the product that they are producing is outstanding. If you've looked at the numbers of the schools and how they are rated, they are very poor for what we are paying for them. And I, as a person who actually did get a very good public education, do not understand why we have to have so many paraprofessionals now in the schools. When I went to school, we never even had to have these, okay? This is an issue. The other issue that I have with this is that there is a sitting member on this body who actually works for the school district and who is actively lobbying for funding to be given from the MUA to the school. And I have an issue with this because to me it's like a serious conflict. And I just don't appreciate it because I've been fighting with that school about trying to make it better. And they really don't want to do the hard work. They need a new superintendent. She does not know what she's doing. She's been in that.
Mr. Bidnick, Mayor, please.
Go ahead.
Listen. Mr. Bidnick, we've had this conversation before, and I've had this with numerous people. If you've got a problem with the schools, then go to the schools. I think it's unfair, and I think it's beneath you to come here and complain about the schools when there's no one from the schools to defend themselves.
That isn't the point, Mr. Dyke.
Well, that is the point, okay?
You gave money.
We gave money, and guess what? It wasn't that individual who you're referring to's idea, it was my idea. And everyone was 100% in favor of it. You want to complain about what we do? That's fine. But I think that you should be ashamed of yourself for coming here and complaining about an individual. I would never, ever do that. I would never, if you've got a problem with the schools, you should go to the schools. You're making disparaging comments about them and how they're operating their
I have
system.
done this publicly
Well,
at the
listen,
schools.
but this is
Easy.
a township meeting, township business.
But you know
okay?
what?
If you've got a problem with the schools, go to the schools.
Mr.
They're
Bidnick,
not
I'd
here
just
to
like to
defend
say to you as
themselves.
an employee of the school district, that money that was secured for the paraprofessionals that were losing their jobs.
Yes.
I am paraprofessional,
I know.
but I am not one of those people who was losing their job because I am a part-timer. I work per diem. I don't get any reward from what was done. But some other people's family members did get a reward from that. And they should be grateful. Yes, you would think people would be grateful for what we tried to do. We asked the MUA to help us, is all we did. We asked them to help secure 43 full-time paraprofessionals and grant them another year so that these women would not be out on their own, some of them being single moms. I don't see the problem
Well,
there.
I'm sure you don't, but that's because you're not looking at it from the other side of
Well,
the avenue.
okay.
And
Let
let
me
me just finish, please.
Go ahead, sorry.
Since you.
No, don't.
No,
I'm
no.
not going to allow you to finish if you're going to continue
Let me just
to
say-
disparage the school system.
Let me just say this. Hold on,
Okay?
hold on.
How's that sound?
Hold on, let me just, when we made the decision to go to the MUA, which we're entitled to each year, this is the first we've ever done it.
That's
Correct.
Ever. It was, when we sat down with the school, it wasn't for maintenance, it wasn't for sports, it wasn't for any of that stuff. It was for jobs, plain and simple. And I said to the superintendent, I said, I get it, you gotta have paras, but you gotta have teachers too. Because without a teacher, you can't have a para. It's that simple. And that's what it was for. And let's not forget, they're still light $1 million. And they're gonna get cut another $2 million, looks like next year. So let's be a little fair to those people, okay? You know, you're not being fair.
What I'm saying to you is the state is actually forcing the school to have to reduce because it refused to do it itself. That is the point that I'm making. They've had 30, look, from 5,100 to 3,800, those are the numbers. You can look it up for yourself, okay? And
No
that
one's
is-
arguing that
That is the
point.
point that I'm making. And excuse me, Mr. Dykoff, if you're gonna be giving money from this body to the school, you have put yourself in the position where you can be challenged for what you're doing.
You know what?
I can be
Right.
challenged, but
Hold on.
the comments you're making about the schools is that they're run poorly.
Well, they
Okay,
are.
I don't agree with you.
Well,
I
I
don't
no
agree
doubt.
with you.
I can tell you,
Okay?
I can tell you this. You're the first person, the very first person to even talk to me privately or at this meeting saying it was the wrong thing to do. And I can tell you this, it's running about 70 to 1.
Okay, so guess what? There's a lot of people that don't talk to any of you. The mass majority of this community.
I
Well,
disagree.
I would disagree with that completely. There's
I
five of us,
disagree.
there's five of
I'm
us, there's
just
five of us
saying-
up here. We all live in different sections of town. Come on.
I guess you didn't listen to what I said.
I did.
Okay, the perception is that you don't care, okay?
Oh, my God.
Right, the perception is that you don't care what the people have to say.
You know what, Mr.
Okay.
Benedict?
We do care.
I think the people don't care about what you're saying, and I'll give you an example. Because on social media, when you post something, most people don't even respond. You know why? They don't agree with you, and they don't want to disagree or agree with you. It's not worth it. Because basically, you're
On
just
what?
what?
Well, go ahead, go on, I'm waiting to hear
I think
this.
you're just a disrespectful person.
And I feel the same way about you.
I appreciate that.
Because you actually,
Respect is earned, it's not given.
that's correct, and you haven't earned my
And I've had an
respect.
interaction with you privately.
Yes, where I have to call you
explained
out
to
for your bad
and I-
behavior.
And I responded to you, and I explained to you, respect is earned, it's not given.
on, let's
You've done
go.
nothing to earn it.
All right. Move on, let's go. What else?
That's pretty much it.
Well,
So
thank-
I think I made my points, and thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else from the public? Come on down. State your name, please.
Steve Borrell, Forked River, New Jersey. Before I get started, I want to ask the committee, is there any updates with the municipal complex? Have you met with the state? Have you met with, and this company is Jackson Controls? Is that the
Johnson
name?
Controls.
Johnson.
Johnson.
And it's headquartered out of Ireland.
I don't know where they're headquartered at.
Out of where?
Ireland, no.
Ireland?
I'm not sure.
No, it's in the United States, Minnesota.
Minnesota. Married, headquartered in, no, I don't think that's the.
We are dealing with, in Minnesota, with
Is that the
corporate.
same company?
I can't answer yes, it looks like their logo, but I'd have to look up their
No, I
their
just
logo.
wanted to make a point that it.
Yeah, I'm dealing with people out
I
of
was a little
Minnesota.
astonished that it was headquartered.
No, I'm dealing with people out of Minnesota.
All right, about the new complex, has anyone met with the state or with Johnson?
No, oh,
Since the
Veronica's-
last meeting?
Veronica's in contact with Johnson Controls, more than the committee is. Okay?
Yes.
Well, I'm hearing
hold
that
on,
there
hold on.
are meetings. I'm
Yes,
just
yes,
asking
yes.
the committee.
There are meetings with Johnson Controls. There are meetings with the state of New Jersey.
Excuse me. Can I get answers from the elected committee here?
Well, okay.
And not from the administrator?
okay.
The administrator is a township employee.
And I
Right.
run the day-to-day
I-
operations of
And
the
she runs the
governing body.
day-to-day
Part of your
operation.
job, I research your job, is to
Great.
communicate and let these, the
Okay.
committee know
Right.
all this stuff.
I
So
would-
the committee should be astute to what every issue is regarding the complex, who's meeting with who.
Okay.
Are there any other companies involved?
No, not right. Not at
Just
this
one.
point, Just one. Okay, let me just say this. Okay. Veronica handles those phone calls, et cetera, that come in, because we're all over. You know, Steve's working, Peggy Sue's working, Pete's working, Mark's working. I'm the one that's semi-retired, so I could be anywhere, all right? Veronica handles us. We are in constant, I call Veronica every day around 3:30, if I don't stop in. Mark's on the phone with her every morning, okay? Everybody's in contact with Veronica, trying to find out. Veronica does a great job communicating what's going on with this,
I'm
okay?
just asking that if I ask
I have been,
questions.
I know Steve's been in meetings, I've been in meetings, Mark's been in meetings with Johnson Controls, been in meetings with the states. It is what it is.
So where we stand today?
Okay, and where we stand today is we are, same as 2 weeks ago, we're still waiting on the engineer's report for this building. They will have the draft of the report by the end of May. Okay? What'll happen is we'll get the draft, we'll go over it, because there may be some things we disagree with and go forth, and then they'll send it back, send it back to them, then they'll issue the final report. We will go over that again, and then we'll publish it.
So nothing can happen until you get a report from the engineer?
Correct. With regarding this.
Wait a second, yeah.
Yes,
in- in-
Steve, go ahead, thank you.
Okay, Steve.
No, just to make, clarify some points. So it's not just this building that they're doing the study on. It was also include the police station as well, which is the building that actually needs more upgrades than this building. My other point. what did you say?
We are still meeting with Johnson
Yeah,
Controls
so-
because
so
we're weighing
basi-
that
so-
other option
Right.
as well
Right.
for a new
So-
facility.
Right, we don't want, I mean, we're asking them to do some, they're doing, we haven't paid a dime to Johnson Controls. They've been working with us for, what, 5 years now?
2020.
And as it
2020.
as it relates to the, you can, I know you're trying to get,
You
answers
said
from.
they've been working for you, excuse me?
No, no, been working with us.
When you ask a question, Veronica runs all the day-to-day stuff. So, we all trust her, we all been working with her a long time. When you
Yeah,
come up,
Mayor
when you.
just told me that.
Yeah, so,
Mayor
but
just
when you
told
come
me.
up and ask, you want an answer from the committee members, I don't tell Peggy what meetings I'm in until, these are public meetings. This is generally when most of that stuff happens, unless we're at like an installation dinner together, and then we might talk, township business.
But we also each have a department that we take care of.
So she doesn't know what meetings I'm in, it's not that much communication. So specifically, I don't know, myself, I have not met with Johnson Controls since,
2021,
November.
2021.
No,
I
it
don't
was a
know.
couple weeks ago when we met with the state.
Right.
yes, but
Yes.
that's
I
already
heard that
probably
you met
6
with the
weeks ago.
state.
Yeah.
That was probably like 6 weeks ago.
Well, which
That was the
one?
last
What
meeting.
the state have to say?
That
Well,
was,
that's the meeting I talked to you about
We
2
told
weeks
you.
ago.
Yeah,
Which
that
is
was the
just- it's
meeting.
just an introductory. Us getting to know them getting to know us, Johnson Controls getting to know them. That was it.
Yes,
That
it was
all
what their expectations were of us
Right.
and what our expectations were of them.
Okay.
It's brand new.
Fair enough. I'd like to make a statement again, and I have some questions and a proposal. Okay, I just want to note my opposition, and I speak for a lot of people who don't show up here. And, I would just like to make one comment. I don't want to be derogatory, but when you guys go through your stuff, I think the people would like to hear more about each thing you approve, and maybe a comment from one of the township committee members as to why you voted yes for this particular ordinance or whatever that's in the minutes that you provide. I come here and I'm almost completely lost. It's real fast. I have yet to see everyone unanimously votes, which is a little unusual. And I just think, as a comment, that there would be more input from the committee regarding how you're spending the township money and a further justification to maybe give us more confidence in the governing body here. And that's just a comment that I see is missing. And when I try to lure people up here, because I think this is a very important issue that's going on, they say, well, I went to a meeting and I really didn't understand what was going on with the minutes and how they approve everything. And if people aren't interested in something, they shy away from it. I'm just making that comment.
Okay.
And it's not against anybody. I'm not trying to be derogatory. I'm just making a comment from what I see from the stands.
Okay, let me just interrupt you if I may, sir. The only money we have spent tonight, and usually it's most nights, most meetings, are the bills. That's the reality, and we got to, we got to pay the bills. They got to get paid.
I understand.
So,
I
and there's
understand.
the list of bills there. I think this month's was what, 27 pages of bills that we got.
Okay, I could just imagine.
Well, so, right,
Yeah, it was a
right,
little-
and that's
a little bit
basically
over
it.
7 million that we
That's
had to pay.
basically it, and we did the budget, which 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So that's basically it. The rest of this stuff
And
is.
just, so- and, just to your point, or I know you just started coming to the meetings. Veronica does a good job, she lists on the agenda. You may not understand the agenda, I understand that completely. But she does a good job of explaining before we're voting what we're voting on. But in addition to
Well,
that.
Veronica does. I'll agree with you.
Just let me-
She talks
let me-
very fast, though.
I know, she does.
Very fast.
you are
So
correct.
let me-
about
It's
that. I
almost like,
apologize.
let's get this done real quick, you know?
Just-
I'm just making comments
Well, this-
of what I see. I'm not criticizing
But you have the
anybody.
agenda there,
I'm not
so
trying to
if-
make a problem.
I understand. I
If
said,
you
but I'm
have
just
a
trying to explain to you
question-
how these meetings run. A lot of these items, yeah, we try to go through relatively quickly. How much time are we gonna spend on Resolution 164, supporting the New Jersey Forest Fire Services projects? What debate is there to have over something like that?
Obviously, there's
So-
agenda items that
Correct,
don't
but
warrant
I would say-
any
I would
comment,
probably
but
say
there might be some that do
Most of
warrant.
these items on the agenda are not, we're just trying to get through the agenda.
Right.
There's nothing to really talk about.
And you have a right to ask if you
Yeah,
come
if
up
you have a
here,
question.
if you have a question on one of the things you heard us
Right.
read, ask
For
us.
further clarification, right?
Mr.
Yes.
Bender does a very good job of that.
Okay.
So does Regina.
And so does Regina,
May I
yes.
have 1 second, Mayor, if I could?
Sure.
Steve, if I could, and respectfully. you see these agenda items 1 through 17? There are some meetings that I've attended that have what we call a consent agenda, where the reader, the Veronica Larray in the room, will say, we're gonna vote now on items 1 through 17, roll call please.
They don't even
It's a
read them.
consent agenda.
Yeah, we don't
So
even
that we
explain it.
refuse to do that because we wanna be as transparent as possible. There is at least one other municipality that I know of that'll go unnamed, that has a time limit for gentlemen and ladies who wanna come up to the microphone. I believe that time limit is 3 minutes, it might be 5. We've refused to do that because we wanna hear from our folks. Most people in the room or in the town have our cell phones. We're very accessible. I know the mayor's been a fine look down the line. There are folks that have lived here for decades. They're accessible, 693-1100. I know somebody calls, has something having to ask about health. Veronica calls me right up. Committeeman Dykoff has been mayor many times, and during Sandy, same thing. You know, I'll speak for myself. We're all going to answer you. I mean, there's no hidden agenda up here. And what Committeeman Kennis says is true. We can't all meet, or else there's issue with sunshine. We see each other at funerals, we see each other at dinners, and that's it. It's not we're gonna go out to Stephen's house after. You know, look, I heard the mayor say many years ago, and I use it all the time, I don't look good in orange. I don't look good in orange either. I don't even like the color.
Thanks.
But listen, I'm just using it to underscore a point. The mayor's one of the most upstanding guys you're ever gonna meet. I'm saying, look, we're all trying to do the right thing. So, I'm sorry, I just had to say that.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Okay. In my statement, I just want to reiterate my opposition regarding building this new municipal complex paid for by Lacey Township taxpayers. And as it stands right now, even though you guys are meeting with everyone, I got to anticipate that this might happen. So I got to ask questions about it. And I just want to get back to, I've been told that the committee plans to bypass or could bypass a voting referendum to clarify, the referendum would clarify if the complex is in the best interest of the public. I'm against that the committee can unilaterally decide to build it on their own. And I wanted to ask, when something of this magnitude comes in front of the committee, does it have to be anonymously voted on, or could it just be 3-2?
The majority rule.
So,
Majority
three
rule.
people could vote yes.
Oh, wait a minute, is that, I thought we had 4, I think we
Is
need
likely to be the case since it would not be a bond
Right,
ordinance, which would
correct.
require.
Bond ordinance is required
Okay,
4.
so
This requires 3.
okay, so there's 2 different ways we can go with this. We can go with P3, which would then require a majority rule, okay? 3
Right,
votes.
3-2.
Right, okay. If we go the bond ordinance way, gotta have 4 out of 5.
Well, with the bond, you gotta have
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5,
Yep.
and you don't need a public vote on that for a
There's no
bond.
public vote on either.
Excuse me?
There's no public vote on either one of those options.
Okay, when would because
a
I've
public
read some
hearing,
stuff
but not a public
on
vote.
the referendum would be required for certain bonding and elevating the annual.
That's school.
Now that,
And that is
But-
also, so there, yes, you are correct. It's a referendum if we want to raise the taxes beyond the 2%.
Right, 2%.
Right, that's,
Then
you
it's
are
gotta
correct.
go.
Then it has to go to the public.
Okay.
Right.
So, based on that information, if the complex is approved, you're not gonna go over 2% a year?
No, that's what we're trying to
That's
figure
what
out
we're
to
trying
make
to
sure we
figure out.
have to stay within.
That's why we've been working so hard.
Okay.
On trying to figure out how to finance this thing so we don't exceed the 2% cap. We don't wanna bust the 2% cap. We just don't wanna do it. It's a bad move to do it.
Oh, obviously.
You know, it's a terrible.
Obviously.
Brick did it about 5 or 6 years ago, and they've got all kinds of problems up there.
Okay, so the next question is, if you can only raise it 2% a year
Right.
without voting on it by the public,
Mm-hmm.
does that mean for the next 30 years, 2%, 2%, 2%, 2%, 2%?
Well,
In order to continue the mortgage payments on the complex?
Well, you can't go above the 2% cap.
We're basically,
We're tied into it. If it's
I understand that,
if it's a-
but would that, because you're not getting,
Each and every year.
Each and every, he's trying to say if in
Oh,
like
each and
in
every
4
year,
years,
we're
we
gonna go
can't
up
raise it.
2%?
Any year you would have,
Yeah.
any
Either
year
way.
which you exceed would require.
any what?
Any year in which you're going to exceed the 2% cap would have to go.
Right.
Then it would have to go out to the public.
Right,
So-
so we did it 5
so-
years in a row, 5 years in a row, people. get paid.
Your tough thing is to try to make it work under the 2% cap.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. So if it goes above the 2, at the 2 or above,
Right.
then the project gets canceled.
Not necessarily. We may decide to go out to the public for it.
So
We'll have
then
the
you
op-
would have to put out a voting referendum.
Correct.
To the public as to whether the public agrees
Right.
on spending this money
Yes,
for this new municipal complex.
yes.
And when we would know that at the end of May?
This way,
No, well, okay, we're gonna have what it's gonna cost to renovate this building and that
I
building.
don't know if we'll be done, oh yeah, these two
These two buildings.
Correct.
At that
So you're not
building,
doing any of the cost on the new building?
Yes, we're working on that as well.
working on that as well. But we won't move forward, this is very common, there's a lot of moving parts here. We will not move forward on the new building until we get these numbers and make a decision on this.
So once we get numbers and square footages and stuff for the, if and when for the new facility, there's an application that has to go to the local finance board at the state of New Jersey through the Department of Treasury. They have the final say whether or not financially Lacey Township can afford to do this. I can't bond, this P3 project doesn't allow me to bond for the money. Because again, bonding for the money is a useful life of a new item that you're buying, not something that you already have. So we wouldn't make, if we were to build this new building, we would not make our first payment until the day we CO and move into it. So let's say 30 days after that, right? So let's say 2027, we move into the building. We would start making payments that year. I can't bond for that money because it's a product that I already have. So I'd have to be buying a new fire truck, and I can bond for that because it's a product I don't have yet. So again, we have to make it work within our confines of our own budget. So again, as Kevin asked, what are you doing with all the money from selling your land? We would have that kind of money to put lump sums down to reduce the price of those things. Or if we're adding onto this building, you know, we sell the community hall, we sell the south docks, we sell the 72 acres, we could put that into this building to reduce the prices of the renovations for this building. We also have, we're looking to do an indoor rec center in addition to the municipal facility. That's one of the things. We get a lot of the sporting organizations, they're having trouble utilizing rooms at the schools because the schools are very busy. It's costly to the sporting organizations to use the schools. It will be less expensive for them to use our facilities. So they're looking for a small indoor turf field, not to full games, but pickup games, clinics, those kind of things. Basketball, wrestling, pickleball, you would charge fees for that. So we went out to a facility out in Medford. It's run by a church. They have pickleball, and you could go there and pay $5 a day to go play pickleball with a bunch of guys and girls and stuff like that. You would have classroom space that you could rent out and utilize classroom space and so on and so forth to offset some of your revenue. There is a partner that in the indoor rec center that may want to come in and be our tenant. They would pay us rent and be the tenant and run the facility, hire the employees so we wouldn't have the cost of hiring additional employees and manage the rentals of that facility. And they would pay us to do that to help offset some of our fees. So there are ways, and there's sponsorship programs. So let's say I want to name somebody, you want to put it out to bid, sponsorship for the program. Let's say it's going to become Holtec or Ocean Wind or R.W. Johnson. They would have naming rights and they would pay a fee to be able to have their name on the building or maybe their name on a classroom. So there's other ways to offset to raise the revenue to help make this as neutral as possible to the town.
And just one other point, I know you think we're stonewalling you or not giving you clear answers. It's because we don't have them, and you're just too early.
Well,
I know you want to wait. Let me finish. I know you're trying to find out as much information as you can, but yeah, we've been working on it a long time, but we don't have concrete answers. So there's no point in just speculating and in guessing what it's going to be. We don't have concrete answers. We don't have concrete size of the buildings either.
Well, the thing that...
No more so, let's say you've gone up here before and you said we should be thinking about putting additions on or renovations. What if that renovation costs more than a new complex? Should we still do it?
Well, I find that hard to believe.
I would be, I would be,
Let's be realistic.
We are.
well, so anyway,
But unbelievable.
but we don't have the information you're looking for, we just don't have yet. And
What I don't
anything will
understand-
occur, everything will always occur at this meeting first.
What I don't understand is how I've been asking, this will be the fourth time I'm gonna ask, did you or did you not have a construction company, an electrical company, a roofing company, a window company, come in here and say, it's gonna cost X amount of money for me to do this?
That's the report.
That's what I've been asking.
Okay.
But
That's the report that we're waiting
I
on.
understand that, but all the things I'm asking for had to already be done.
No,
No?
no.
So no one came in here, and the engineer is gonna come in here and tell you.
That's the
Yes,
engineer who does that.
that's
They're
the
the
report. They're
experts.
putting the report together.
We
Okay.
Based on
I'm not gonna- we're not gonna
them
piece-
coming here,
Yes,
or
they-
based upon,
We're not gonna piecemeal it out like the windows are gonna cost X.
You can't do that, though.
Right.
You can't do that because of the value of the project. I can't go down there and hire you to do the work because you're the local guy. Okay, so I have to go out to bid and bid it, and you get low bid. You can speak of other facilities that had that happen, and then there's cost overruns because you hire the lowest bid, and some things are missed. So I can't call in the local roofer and say, hey, we want you to do this project, because it's prevailing wage also. It's not what you and I would pay for our house. It's double usually the rates that we would pay at home to use it. You know, they joke about the cost of a toilet seat or a widget on an airplane or in the military is so much higher, and it truly is with what government pays.
so if no one really examined this building
That's not what, wait a minute,
financially.
it's not what we're
They did.
saying. They
The
were in here.
engineering firm
They have been
did.
through the building.
3 times now.
They were just in here 2 weeks ago on
Haven't
Friday.
they provided you documentation on this?
That's what we're getting at the end of the month. They're putting the programming report together.
Yes.
They don't do it overnight, that's the whole
This is-
point.
this is
And we're not their
expensive.
only client, unfortunately.
It just seems like something, like you're hiding.
Look,
Oh
let,
my
oh, no,
God.
That's
hold
what,
on, hold on.
that's how
hold
I
on,
feel.
hold on.
I'm being honest.
Let me
I'm not
just,
trying
let me
to
just, let me just
criticize
say
you. I'm
something.
being honest.
No, let me just say something.
It's almost like you're hiding from us.
Nobody is more frustrated that we don't have this number than the 6 of us up here. Nobody, absolutely nobody. And I cornered one of the principals of the engineering firm at an event that I was at and said to him, we need that report yesterday.
What'd he say?
We'll have
It
it
was
by
a
the end of
female,
May.
by the way. It
We'll
was
have
a
it by
her.
the end of May.
It's
And-
a her.
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
Okay.
Right, it's
Yeah,
a
it's a
draft.
draft.
It's gotta be ironed out. It's a draft, it's not the full report.
Well, because they're going to submit the draft.
So what
initially,
what I want to ask, anticipating that it might go through somehow, do you know what kind of, how it's financed? The company, Johnson, takes care of all that? All
Yes.
the financing?
Johnson Controls.
They tell you what percentage rate you're
Yes,
gonna
it's
get?
all in the contract.
And
It's
we have,
negotiated, it's all in the contract.
and we are going to or not going to have a substantial down payment towards it?
We're hoping to.
Yeah, we would love to. One of the things that we said from day one, and I insisted on this, is that if we have extra money, we sell something, and we get a couple of $1 million, that we have the option to pay the principal down. Let's say we sell something for $5 million,
Yeah,
and we say,
it's
you know
like a
what?
mortgage.
Say,
Okay.
we're gonna take $2.5 million, and we'll pay the principal down on this, and the other $2.5 million for other projects in town. What we gonna, hey, we're just gonna take the $5 million and use it for other projects in town. That's really important to us. So we have some flexibility in all of this.
I researched online, and there are a number of other townships that put things up for referendum voting, like 10 million, 15 million. Do they have a ceiling that you guys are allowed to not breach?
What do you mean?
A ceiling, a ceiling of spending.
Well, if we go out for a $10 million bond, that's what we're gonna get.
No, he's
He
asking.
wants to know if we have a
Is
number.
there a limit? Like,
At
we
what
can't
point,
spend more than
if you
10
want
million
50
without going
million,
to the public.
Right.
Because I've seen
No,
towns
there's
that
not.
do.
The lawyer
So
just said no.
There is a town in New Jersey that I know personally that did the bond, okay? They are $3 million
Right.
over budget. And 2 years, behind schedule. And the building that they're building isn't big enough right now. Think about that.
Shame on that.
Well, no,
And they took low bid.
they
That's
took
part
low
of the
bid,
reason.
and that's
And they're
one of the
going
things
bankrupt.
we're very concerned about is making sure that we don't make mistakes. That's why we went out and visited 6 or 7 of these buildings, to make sure that we don't make the mistakes that other people made.
Well,
So here's an interesting example of when we did go out for referendum. Years ago, we went out for referendum to build a road on the river right away. And it was, at the first time, it was knocked down. The interesting part, back then, we probably could have built the whole thing for $2 million.
Yeah, it was-
The whole
The
thing,
whole
from
thing.
start to finish.
So finally, we realized, we took a second referendum and it passed, and we've started building it. How much money do we have in it so far?
We have over $4 million in it, and to build the rest of it at this point is over $6 million.
And as far as I'm concerned, and the people who tell me, it's a rousing success.
Yes.
It bypasses the traffic on Route 9, makes life a lot
Oh, yeah.
simpler,
Oh,
you know.
yeah.
So it makes, but because of certain people in the public, the Rail Trail Environmental Group, which I'm sure you're aware of, they came to us and they
I
kind of
wasn't
made
one
the
of
same accusations as you, that we were hiding
Hiding
something.
something.
I've been here for 20 years, you know what?
Hiding
I'm proud of everything we've done here, and I can guarantee you,
look,
we've never.
I'm not against the municipal
But you
complex.
keep on making accusations that we're hiding something. Your
Not
exact
keeping,
words.
I said it once.
Well,
When did I say it again?
The last
Did I?
time, the last meeting you had.
Well, I
you
was
were
pretty,
here
I was
and made
pretty,
it kind
I
of-
was pretty ticked off
You were.
that I was sent to this building 3 times to get something that either don't exist or is somewhere else.
But I'm just saying, as
I'm a
far as
grown
the-
adult.
As far as the
I'm a grown
referendum
adult,
goes,
okay?
I'm not in favor of a
Good,
referendum.
bad, or indifferent, I'll tell you the truth.
Right.
Same
And
thing.
I felt that I
And I'm
was
right back at
told
you.
Well,
the truth. That's
okay.
why I was torqued
Yep.
up.
Okay.
I'm right back at you. Good,
You
good,
know,
bad, or indifferent, and many people see me on social media, good, bad, or indifferent, I tell the truth.
Okay.
And, you know, I try and inform people, but basically, I'm not in favor of a referendum because I've seen what it can do. Okay? I've seen what it can do. It costs this township years and years of wasteful money and wasteful time.
That was because they altered the whole thing and then challenged you through different organizations.
Exactly. Yep.
That wasn't their money, that was money that they got from,
But
you
it was
know,
still
it
our
was
money,
their
the
money.
taxpayers.
But it cost-
lovers,
But it,
snake
but it
lovers.
cost the taxpayers
their money, though,
4
'cause
times
the
what it
taxes-
normally would have cost.
Well,
It
You
was
know?
their
And-
money in the big
Yeah.
picture of things.
You know, the same people that are up here complaining, the same people that are up here complaining about the multi-units were the same people complaining about the project off of Laura Boulevard Extension, which would have been what, 75?
78 age-restricted town.
78 age restricted, now it's up to 276,
240
240, it's ridiculous.
well,
Because they stopped us
look,
then.
that's one of the
Now we're
reasons
paying the
why I'm
price
against
for it.
this complex, because everything is going up.
Right,
Our building materials doubled.
right.
Mortgage, the rates, interest rates are phenomenal. I just think, you know,
Well-
it's just a bad time.
Okay.
The timing is bad.
Okay, let me explain this. Johnson Controls will have different avenues to capital than we could ever go to. They'll get into the venture capital, they'll form all these partnerships to raise money. This is what these guys do, and they do it very, very well. We might be in an issue where University of Notre Dame is building something. They put, you know, whatever we want plus whatever Notre Dame, you put it all together. Okay, how many investors can we get? They can get to those guys. We can't do that. The only way we can do money is to bond for it.
And
Because of
then
the
we sell
restrictions.
our notes annually every year
Right.
and hope that somebody
So,
gives us a
so
good interest rate.
what you're saying is that they're gonna be able to have access to money at a cheaper interest rate?
Hopefully,
That's the only thing that could help us on this.
hopefully, yeah.
You haven't discussed with them any potential?
It's if you go to a bank with $10 million and say you want to buy a CD, you're not getting the rate that they're publishing. They're going to say, no problem, we're going to bump you up a point and a half, 2 points. And that's not a problem. So yeah, there's different rates out there. The capital markets aren't just the banks, and so these guys have access to this, and they're very good at it.
So I could find their history online of how good they are?
I
Or
would
they
think-
just told you, or you've
I'm sure
seen
there's
it in
reports
writing?
on them.
I'm sure there's.
online.
I'm sure-
publicly
I-
traded
I don't know if
company.
Are they a stock company?
Yeah,
they're in
publicly
the
traded.
stock
Okay,
market.
so yeah, they have annual reports,
So
absolutely.
you guys checked them out?
Yeah.
Yes.
They
Okay.
have annual reports, absolutely, absolutely.
All right, fair enough. I do want to make a proposal, and it's for each township committee member to sponsor my proposal. And my proposal is to amend the Lacey Township municipal budget, however you amend it, to prohibit the township committee from unilaterally approving the cost of current and future capital expenditures exceeding the cost of $1 million. That any such cost for any current and future capital expenditure exceeding $1 million what must be voted on by the public in order to be approved. This voting referendum would prohibit excessive township spending, and it shall go into effect upon its approval. So I'm asking each township committee person, starting with Mark, would you sponsor my?
Absolutely not.
Pete,
Can't do it.
Mr. Mayor,
Absolutely not.
you don't count. Thank you, Sue.
Committeeman Giuliano will not you wanna know why? Cause I have a fire truck that needs to be bought, and that's more important
I agree,
than
I agree.
anything else going
The
on.
number's flexible.
Okay?
The number's flexible. I gotta have a starting point.
No, I can't
We're not
do it.
gonna-
I'm trying to work
This
with
is an
you.
emergency,
I'm trying to
we're
work
talking
with
about
you.
emergency vehicles
How would
here.
we pave a road?
How would we get a
would
road
need
done?
Permission
You-
for.
Yeah, no, because a lot of this stuff is, we're approaching 1 million.
So what number
We'd be well.
would accommodate the township committee?
If you're not happy with your taxes or the budget, you should be coming to our budget meetings, or when we vote on the budget. That's your chance to sit there and say, you're spending too much money.
What you're
You know
suggesting,
what else I suggest? Honestly, this would be something interesting for you to do, is go to another township and just sit in on one of their meetings. And I say
I
this
don't have
only-
the time to do
Well, I'm just saying, because you would find out that it's not all peaches and
I'm only
cream.
worried about this
Okay.
township.
But-
I know that government bodies differentiate dramatically
When
from
you-
town to
what
town,
you are
just
sug-
like anything.
Well, it's just like, Steve, I want you to understand, when you get offended, that Veronica answers a question.
Well, I really
okay?
want to talk to the elected officials. I don't know Veronica, God bless her. I just like to hear from the elected officials.
Right.
Because when I say, I was up at the township meeting and Miss LeRae said this, and they say, well, is she the mayor? No.
No, but we don't run like most
So-
townships.
In my lifetime, when I went to talk to a body of power or a body of whatever, I would always want to talk to the head person. And that's how I was trained. The head person
so just
is the
explanation.
you
point.
gotta understand
Just-
something. What this body does is we set policy.
Is what?
We set policy. That's what we do. She is in charge of making sure what we do here gets done. So she's gonna know more about the nuts and bolts of what's going on than we will.
Well, again, I believe that should be shared and
Well, we
however.
do share. Well, let me get back to your proposal. What you are suggesting would absolutely handcuff this town, would parallel
Okay,
handcuff this
okay,
town.
if 1 million is
It
way
doesn't-
too low,
it doesn't-
what would be a number that the township
None,
committee?
none.
No,
We
unlimited.
get, this is
Not
what we get elected to do.
unlimited,
This is what we get elected to do. And if you look at our tax rate, outside of Plumstead and, what's the one down, it's West Creek, we have the lowest tax rate.
Well, you know.
Now, wait a
when-
minute,
Let us finish.
West Creek doesn't have police, and Plumstead, you gotta pay for your own trash.
Okay.
Now, Mr.
I-
Ball, just real quick, let me just give you a little explanation about this form of government. So there's two forms of government, and you're
Yeah, I
you're very
understand.
right that you might have gone to other municipalities, Berkeley Township, where they have a strong mayor. And that strong mayor makes a lot of decisions
On his own.
based
I
on.
like that better.
Based on, well, you.
I really think
no,
there should be
no,
one
no,
mayor.
no, no.
Believe me,
no.
Because we have 5 votes, 5 equal votes. Now, Mr. McDonald, he's a great mayor, but next year, you know what? He's not the mayor. Mr. Kennedy,
His
last
vote's
year,
no-
I was the
more
mayor.
powerful than
So
his.
the only power we have is we chair the meeting.
Right.
That's all the power, but aside from that, we all have
The
equal
same
votes
amount.
and equal power.
And we-
Now, we all have some expertise You know, and case in point, you know, Ms. Curatola has health department, of course, Stephen has building department. Over the years, I've gained a lot of knowledge on land use, finance, things like that. Peggy Sue, emergency services, the mayor, finance, so we bring a lot to the table. But when Veronica answers, and believe me, before Veronica makes a decision, she will speak to one of us. Here's what I propose. And while we have a sunshine law and we can't all meet, Veronica will discuss this individually with all of us. What do you think of this? We'll all get the agendas ahead of time. We'll look through it. And in response to your comment about we should explain, there are times when we explain why we're voting a certain way, you know, when something is important. But I think, you know, while Veronica might speak quickly,
So nothing
I
on
think
that was important?
It's not a
nothing-
question of not
it was
important.
business as usual.
Business as usual.
Exactly, business as usual. Ordinances, you know, what's really important.
What was the last big thing that you explained?
What was the last big thing I
You said
explained?
it was really big,
Oh,
then
there
we
have
had a
been
bigger.
times when I commented, you know, I can't off the top of my, well, I probably can think of something off the top of my head, where an apartment complex, something like that, when we're approving something pertaining to land use. Anytime that I feel that the public is really interested, and most of the time they're not, maybe it's something that I've responded to on social media, where I've tried to explain something mostly pertaining to land use. So what I'll do is, guess what? During our committee comments, that's when, and tonight I talked about the dredging. That's something that's really at the forefront of people's minds. Dredging,
Important.
flooding, things like that. So that's when we really might explain something that is, you know, of concern to the township. So that's really when we express our
Fair enough,
views.
fair enough,
Okay?
fair enough.
Veronica just said the marijuana issue, which was 2 years ago.
Yes.
Okay, when we bought the Knights of Columbus, we went through that, okay?
Okay,
The big items that affect that, we go through.
all right,
I mean, we're not gonna talk about endorsing the Forest Service project.
okay.
Now, let me just, one other thing, so we have resolutions and we have ordinances. So with ordinances, it's a first and second reading. So basically, the first reading, we vote on it. The second reading is when we open the floor to public comment. Ordinances normally carry a lot of weight. So that's why we open the public comment. The public has an opportunity to come before us and ask their questions, and then we can expound on an explanation.
So it's a double meeting.
It's a double
And
meeting.
a perfect
Same with the
example,
budget, too.
a
Same with
perfect
the budget.
example of what Committeeman Dykoff is talking about is the town came out in mass when we were discussing, we had complaints about chickens.
Chickens.
The people came up, voiced their opinion,
We had
and we changed how we were moving.
Moving.
And that was a classic case of
Yes.
We had,
how this type of government works is a representative, committee form of government, and I like it, I live here too. It's,
We all live here.
And then it was brought up, and if you were around when we were discussing the marijuana issue, you know, of course, New Jersey voted in favor of recreational marijuana, but we felt that they didn't get a real view of, you know, what the repercussions are. Should there be a recreational dispensary in our town? And we disagreed. There was some
Is there
very,
one?
very contentious.
Is there one?
No.
No, we have an
Not
ordinance
town.
against prohibiting recreational dispensaries in Lacey Township. We approve medicinal, but we don't approve, but again, we put a referendum on the
Gotta have a
ballot.
doctor's note.
Well, that's for medicinal, yeah, but these are things that when the public is concerned about something, well, that's when we kind of expand on it. And that's when we, you know, you'll see, we get contentious sometimes.
Yep.
Again, I've been here for 20 years, I've seen us go from, you know, through some tough times. But, I'm sorry, go ahead.
to that.
All right, well, in closing, I really wish you guys would reconsider this complex, but we don't even know yet.
Right.
Is it gonna be, it's not gonna be available, the numbers at the next meeting, it will be 2 meetings.
Oh,
Right.
most likely, yeah, that's probably.
Because
better.
Probably the
June.
first
the
meeting.
last Thursday
meeting
is the
is-
26th or 25th.
25th is our next meeting, and then June
So-
8th is our, I think it's.
You'll have no new information next
I
meeting.
don't know if it's June.
Well,
Oh, you might have moved.
Oh, you might have new, but not the
They
numbers.
said, right, but those said by the end of May. We could get it tomorrow, we could get it next week.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, they put a deadline, they put their self-deadline.
So it'd be good to be up.
Right, so we
next
get
week.
it. Well, we're not gonna publish it at that point in time because we gotta go over it. We gotta talk to them about why they came up with this number, why they came up with that number. We gotta go through it so that when people like you come and ask us, we can explain it so that you'll understand it.
Right.
And then they'll take it back, make it nice and pretty, and then we publish it.
Okay, so with the renovations, if we go with the renovations, does that need state approval also?
No, we just would have to figure out how we're gonna fund it, because it can't be
Yes.
funded under a P3.
Right.
So then that would take municipal bonding.
Right.
And again,
So
that,
we might have to
Currently-
piecemeal it, because we might not be able to bond it all at once, and then you take low bidder.
As we stand here today, how many outstanding loans does the township have that need to be paid off?
Well, we take short-term notes, so we short-term them in 10-year increments, and we sell them every May.
It's about 14
I
million.
was gonna say, I thought it was like
14 million,
$15
yeah,
million.
About 14 million.
Yeah, it's not a
$15
lot.
million, yeah.
Not a lot.
That's
It's not.
Not in the scope of what we do for business. Yes, for
That's
you and
not a
I
lot at all.
personally it is,
Right.
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
not a
not,
lot at all.
Not a
not
lot.
municipal government.
I'll bet you it's half of what Wertheim has,
Oh,
not to disparage Wertheim.
I guarantee it's half of what we're.
And I'd just like to make a comment to Steve about, they found a place to put the fuel rods in New Mexico? Is that what you
that's
said?
just- No, they still have to. They received,
still have
they have the approval from the NRC to move the casks.
But they
still
can't
don't have
move
a,
them through the states.
They have their.
they have the approval to move the
They have
casks.
to
move them.
approval to build it there, but they, I thought.
No, they do not have, no. They have no approval from New Mexico, which is
Right.
what they need.
Okay,
They're
so the
recording in
rods are gonna
Mexico.
stay here.
The NRC
Oh,
gave
yeah.
them permission to move it. The problem they're gonna have is that these things are so heavy that they will tear up our roads. And that's a big problem, how they're gonna get this cast out of, because I attended the meeting 4 or 5 years ago, how they're gonna get these casts out of here, whether they take them up through the
How'd
pine.
they get them here?
Well, no, they built them. They built them on site. These are cement casts that weigh like 50 tons. So you gotta get them out. How you gonna get them out of here? You know, whether they barge them out of here through one of the lagoons and out to the bay, then down to Florida, then across, you know, there's all kinds of plans on it. But the problem they really have, if they gotta truck it out of here, is our roads. The county's aware of it because they're gonna have to come up Lacey Road, and the state's aware of it because they gotta come up Route 9. We put an ordinance in where they can't do it during the day, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then they gotta go through the Pinelands. But they gotta go over, and that bridge, I don't know if that bridge can handle it. So they got a lot of issues of this. you know.
Again, we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
They
Right
got a
now,
lot of issues.
You had to bring it up, right?
I didn't, he
I
brought
was
it
gonna
up.
bring
No,
it
you
up.
brought it up first.
Okay, well, I'll be at next meeting. I'll
Thank
be
you.
up here.
Okay.
And I want to know the updates of what you guys find out.
Yep.
Absolutely opposed it.
Okay.
I find out that the renovations can't nearly be as costly as the new complex, a percentage. And this report is going to go bullet point by bullet point about what they're going to renovate, right?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Moving of, installing new generators, moving the police tower that's next door where the radio communications are, relocating municipal staff and employees in other facilities. We might have to rent space while these buildings are being renovated because we wouldn't be allowed to be in here. So, yeah,
Well, the
so
last gentleman brought up maybe you could work at home a little
Well,
bit.
that's what I just was gonna bring that
for
up. If
security
I-
purposes,
Even
a lot of it can't
temporarily.
be.
For security reasons, we're not allowed to do that because there's a lot of private information that goes
Right.
on in this building
Also-
that cannot be in someone's
Union.
home.
You know,
Okay, see you next
Doesn't
meeting.
like to talk to women.
All right, thank you. Anyone else from the public?
Totally does.
Seeing none, motion to close the floor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's a resolution of Township of Lacey County, Ocean State, New Jersey, authorizing convening an executive session to discuss matters of personnel, anticipated litigation, and contractual matters. Motion?
Move it.
Mr. Kennis?
Yes.
Mrs. Juliano?
Yes.
Mr. Curatolo?
Yes.
Mr. Dykoff?
Yes.
Mayor McDonald?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn?
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We will not be back out.
No further business.
Thank you.
Well, I get it, Tom.